we are going to be looking at a fabulous tool called Edgy. I know that Nicole has seen it before. Angela, I don't know if you have. You might have.
No, I haven't.
You have not. Oh, I think you're going to like this. This is right up your alley, actually. So what this is, let me share my screen. Done. Okay. So what this is it's essentially a reading annotation tool. And depending, the degree to which it helps foster literacy, like so many things, actually depends on what the teachers do and how they structure their activities that they design within this platform to go along with the reading material they want their students to work through. So you can use all those research-based strategies to foster literacy within this tool if you build it into the instructions and the questions you ask and so on, such as making sure that that students have an opportunity to make and follow up on predictions, make connections to their own life experiences, to other materials they've read, watched, listened to ask questions, and then, see if as they progress through the material, if they're finding answers to their questions or if it's revealing new questions, as well as building vocabulary, and really building their ability to work with vocabulary in context. All of those things can be built into the tool. None of them are automatic. So again, it is going to be dependent on the kinds of instructions that teachers provide for how they want their learners to use the features that are available to them, as well as any particular questions the teachers choose to add into the reading material. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little orientation to the student interface, and then we'll have you get into a document and try it as a learner first for a little bit. And then we'll talk about that and then look at how it is that that document was created as an activity for learners so that you see what the teacher interface looks like. And then you'll be ready to dive in on your own and try it out if you'd like to. So the student interface, first of all, it's important to know that this tool works on all devices. It's web-based. It works on phones, tablets, Chromebooks, and computers. There is no app needed. It actually successfully works from phones and tablets from the web. I will say that some people do find the selecting of words or phrases in the text in order to comment on them. Sometimes they find it more challenging on their phones or tablets than it is if you have a mouse and can kind of click and drag, but it does work. This tool also allows for you to decide how you would like your students to comment on the words and phrases in the text, as well as on images, actually. You get to make the choice as the teacher if the students type their comments, record audio as their comment, or include emojis as comments. And you can choose any combination of those three things that you would like. So in the sample we will be doing today, I actually made all three available to you. But you could choose to only allow audio, or to allow text and audio but no emojis, or you can choose to allow all three. You're seeing a little bit of some of the interface for students. Your document will start with instructions that you provide to your learners, and when the students look at it, off to the left-hand side, they'll see that they have just a thing called My Notes, which we'll learn about a little bit later. And then if they highlight anything, it immediately pops up immediately to the left, two options, a view option, but also the new option. And when they click on new, that's what's going to allow them to type, choose an emoji, or record an audio comment on whatever word or phrase they highlighted. Oh, welcome. Let me put the support document in the chat. We're just getting started. Your support document is essentially the slide deck. We're looking at a tool called Edgy, which is focused on really making students' reading and the thinking behind their reading visible. And it does that by giving the teacher a number of ways that students can comment on the words and phrases they encounter in the text. So the students can type comments, they can use emojis, or they can audio record their comments, or the teacher can limit it to any of those three options in any combination. You'll see later that there is also the ability for this to be a collaborative process where not only do the students read the document once and make their own comments on the features of the document, but there is an opportunity for them to then see what everybody else has commented on and reply to each other so that they can have ongoing conversations about the content of this material that they're reading and engaging in. And in their comments, they have the same permissions that they were given by the teacher. In their replies, rather, they have the same permissions that they were given for the original comment. So if when the teacher created the activity, they were given the permission to use emojis and text and audio comments, then if the teacher allows the students to reply to each other, they will also be able to do emojis and text and audio comments. Interestingly, you can also include images in your text, and the students can annotate the image. Now, it only allows them to annotate by just clicking on a spot. That's why you see so many little dots. Each of those dots is something that someone had a comment on, and off to the left are all the comments that are roughly on that same area of the image. And so you can include infographics, charts, paintings, you know, any image that you would like, photographs and so on. And that can be a portion of, or it could be the entire text. And your students could annotate the image with their thinking. What I really like about this tool is it does one of the things we really want to do with learners. It helps make their thinking visible while they're processing information. Because a lot of times we don't know what words or phrases grabbed a student's attention, or what words or phrases confused them, or which words they are seeing as new words that they now are trying to figure out in context, because all of that happens internally. And unless we do something specific to draw that out of them, we don't know any of those things. And this tool gives us a way to make their thinking visible when it comes to how they process information that is provided in both print material as well as graphics or images. Hold on, just checking the chat. Yes, it is. I told you I love this tool so much. And you can put an image, so you can put text into the tool, and at any point you can insert an image. If you're just copying and pasting text, you know, from an online article or whatever, you can insert the image within. You can put it at the beginning. You can put images at the end. You can also provide questions for your students to respond to kind of at any point throughout the document. And with those questions, you also determine in what ways the students can respond. So in addition to whatever instructions you give them for what it is you want them to do with the annotations, you can draw out specific information by asking them questions throughout. Okay, so we're going to actually try it. Now, this requires that you kind of leave your full screen view of Zoom so that you can get back to your internet browser. And you might want to have temporarily, you may want to have Zoom visible like on half your computer screen, and Edgy is going to be visible on the other half. We are in full screen mode right now because I'm screen sharing. So if you can't get your tools to pop up at the bottom of your computer, you should be able to, but if you can't get them to do that, you can't see what other apps you have on your computer because Zoom has taken over everything. Find your Zoom toolbar where it says participants and sharing and so on. And then you'll see a green rectangle attached to it that says you are viewing Nicole Naditz's screen. To the right of that, you'll see a little black rectangle that says view options. Click on that and choose exit full screen if you need to. And then go ahead and go into a browser. I prefer Chrome, but you should be able to use Safari as well. Go ahead and go into a browser. And when you get there, I'm going to put this link in the chat for you. Hold on, let me escape my thing. You're going to go to a link that I'm going to put in the chat so that you can copy and paste. You do not have to create an account. There is a way to just type. There's a big rectangle waiting for you that says type your nickname. And guessed it is, hold on, I'm trying to get to the chat. Guessed it is. So here you go. So you can just type a name. You don't have to worry about creating an account right now. And then once you've typed your name, you'll see that there's a document waiting there for you. That document actually has text, images, and questions. Nothing super fancy. I didn't spend a lot of time looking for an amazing image. It's actually just almost, just a text-based image that has words on it also, but it's an image file. So read the document as far as you can, look at the image, use your mouse to highlight items you wish to comment on, and then add your comment and press the check mark if needed. Let me go back to show you what that looks like. There you go. There's a little check mark to save. I think they have edited their interface a tiny bit. So it is possible you won't see a check mark right now, but it lets you know that you're like in draft mode. You can delete your comment, but you also can save your comment, and that will be important if you want us to view it. You can also record a comment if you'd like to try an audio comment on this document. And you can try an emoji comment. And then there's a question at the end if you want to try. You don't have to type anything profound, but if you want to try answering a question, there's one image. You can try annotating the image. So I want you to basically just play with the tool and, try adding a couple of comments, annotating the image as well, and then the question. So I'm going to pause the recording here and give you several minutes to, probably about 5 minutes, to work through the document as far as you can. Nice. As you finish up that last comment, please keep your screen open. And what you're going to notice is a change on your screen. So I'm going to click a button on my dashboard that I will tell you about a little bit later. And now you might have to refresh your screen, but take a look at your screen now. If you refresh if you need to, and what you should see is what's called heat vision. What heat vision is it's using a heat map. Lighter colors mean fewer people have commented on that particular word or phrase. And the deeper the red, the more people have chosen that exact word or phrase to also make a comment on. In addition, off to the left, you should be able to see little bubbles of all the people who have commented. And if you hover your mouse over each one, it'll actually show you the comment unless it's audio, because then you'd have to click on it. And underneath some of the bubbles, you'll see a tiny green circle with a number in it, and that tells you that there are replies to that person's comment. So now you actually have the option to go back through and take a look at some comments that others have left in order to see if you would like to reply to any of them. Right, so I'm on my screen. If you happen to be looking at Zoom, I'm kind of hovering over some of the comments just to pop them up. And then if I see one, that I want to comment on, all I have to do is click on the bubble, and that's going to open up that person's comment. There are actually 2 replies, so I can open that up, and I see that there's even an audio reply. And then I can also add my own reply, either by typing or by recording audio myself, if I would like to. And then when I'm done with my comment, I'm going to hit save, and now my comment is added.
So it's interesting. I left a voice recording by the little, there's a little dot on if the world doesn't take action. Yeah. But it says empty draft. It's funny because I watched it record, and then I thought it saved. So who knows?
Are you able to open your draft again? Because usually that means it's there for you to see, but we can't see it yet. Like as someone who is, in your case, that does sound like you have it, but we don't, because on my screen, I don't have a comment from you in that location.
Interesting. Okay.
Which means somehow it didn't post.
So, because it looks
like.
What
happens if you click on it?
When I click on it, it still says draft. So
good. Is there a recording there, or do you see any recording bars like if you hop over to your Zoom window, if there's a recording that actually successfully saved, you should be able to see a little recording bar with sound waves in it.
Yeah, I thought I had seen it, but it just says empty
it's not
track.
there now. I heard you record it.
It says, oh God, I was on mute. I was not on mute.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, it's something that I would just have to practice.
So it looks like, yeah, I might need another go at trying the recording and then the posting of that recording.
I'll mute myself and do it again real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to see if it works. I mean, it does normally work, but you know how technology
that would be
is.
Such a great little.
Oh, it's awesome.
Trying to get my kids to even eat, like, it's hard to always do spontaneous conversation for the AP exam, but even if they were just practicing leaving comments on what they're analyzing, that would be so
helpful. I don't know if you're available. I will record it, but Friday afternoons, like training, the one you can earn hours for, is specifically on the tool Extempore, which has a simulated conversation feature that you can build that simulates the AP exam.
Oh, yeah. I have it on my calendar to attend. So that's definitely part of my agenda.
Yeah, I know. On a long day. I'm sorry.
No, it's an amazing offering. I don't care.
So go ahead, and if you'd like to go ahead and record that, go ahead. In the meantime, are there any other questions about what you experienced so far in the student interface?
I don't have any more questions. I thought it was great, Nicole. I can't wait to play with this some more.
It's a great tool. Like, I've given several trainings on it actually, and I'm always like, more people should come. Like, it's a good tool. It is, like many things, it's all about kind of what we as the teachers put into it, but the potential is incredibly strong, right? So that is essentially what the student interface looks like. And I highly recommend, if you do use this tool, I recommend you do it in 2 parts like we did. If you're able to see my Zoom window, my teacher tools are here on the left. And when you started this process, I had heat vision off. I highly recommend you do the same. And the default is that heat vision is on. The students will get very distracted as they notice that their friends and colleagues and peers are commenting on the document at the same time they are, and they'll see all of the different colors, and it'll kind of interfere with their ability to process the content initially with some initial thoughts on their own before benefiting from the additional thoughts of their peers. So then you do it in 2 steps where your heat vision's off after they've had one chance to go through and kind of share their thinking and their questions and what they've noticed and wondered and what new words they're noticing in there and so on. Then you can turn the heat vision on, and I would just make that like a part 2 assignment. So they might do part 1 might be assigned for them to do sometime around Monday, Tuesday of the week. And then part 2 might be something they do Thursday or Friday of the week, where they go back in and revisit the document and try to go a little deeper by actually going through the comments that their peers have left, and furthering those conversations by asking follow-up questions, by sharing additional examples and connections and so on. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I recorded it, and I don't know if it would be helpful to share my screen. I actually caught your conversation. It's just a recording of what you and maybe Angela, I don't know who was speaking, was saying, but I can't seem to get it to post. So it's like,
I turned off mine. So go ahead and share yours so I can see what might be happening.
Okay.
Because that's interesting.
Oops, wrong tool. Hold on.
Let's try that again.
Yep. Here it is. So can you see down here?
See it. Not to edit, don't delete, and I don't see a save.
Yeah, and it's like, so I went to edit, and then I was like,
oh, and there's save.
Hi.
Yeah. Hit save. Now hit the X at the very top. Yeah. Okay, is it there?
Oh, now it is. So you do have to type like your.
You didn't have to before though, but you know how tools are; they change.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least that's resolved. I'll stop sharing.
I wonder though if you did have to or not. Now I'm kind of wondering. Okay, hold on. Let me start sharing again. This will stop. Yes, continue. Okay, let's see if that worked. That looks like you. There it is, and there you are.
Okay.
I don't remember people having to type something though, because in theory, and the reason that gives me a wondering is because in theory, you could, as the teacher, set up the activity so that nothing but audio comments are accepted. So I don't know if if there's a little internet funkiness happening right now or what's going on, but it's not supposed to require that, but I like the workaround.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, let's try this and see if this helps the system recognize that I'm actually doing something.
Right. Just type your initials in. Fine.
Like, I'm smarter than you, system. I can make this work. So I do love the workaround. I'm just perplexed as to why it was necessary. So as the teacher, I'm in my Zoom window now and I'm sharing my screen, but as the teacher, I can see that there are now 99 comments on this particular document. I can also go to the questions that I have asked, and just as the teacher, I mean, this is a little clunky here, but I can get it to where I can, look at each person's responses in this way. That is not the only way you can do it. So if I scroll through the document instead, when I get to the point where there are questions, I can actually go through and look at those responses. Here's the other interesting thing to know. Unlike a lot of the tools I've run across lately, this does have a moderation feature. So if you turn heat vision off so that they can't see each other's responses at first, you have time to go through and, if necessary, delete any comments or even any responses to questions that you would not want the rest of your class to see. Then when you turn the heat vision on, you would be able, the students would be able to see the comments as well as the answers that other students gave to the questions, if that makes sense. So there is a bit of a moderation feature. The students cannot reply to each other's responses to a question that you asked. They can only reply to the annotations in these little annotation bubbles. Okay. So now what we're going to look at is how you create these things, and it is actually relatively easy to create, which is nice. Oh, I forgot to tell you what my notes will do. As the student, the section on the left that when they highlight something, or sorry, on the very left margin of the screen, the My Notes provides them with a list of all their personal comments and shows their own highlights without showing anyone else's. So it kind of helps. I don't have a My Notes because I'm not the student in this document, but on the left, as a student, you have a thing called My Notes, and it'll kind of pull up all of your comments in one place outside of the document so that you can find them. For teachers, there's a different way to do that. So for teachers, I can click on the student's little bubble, and then I actually get a little window that shows that this student did 2 comments and replies. So if I pick up another person's little bubble, oops, hold on a second. If I pick up another one and I click on that particular person, this one has 6 comments and replies. And I can tell actually that some of the things might be replies. What's also nice is me as the teacher, from this screen, I can reply directly to this student's comment. Which can be helpful if you start having a lot of little bubbles and so on. It might be helpful to pull up a student and do it that way. So let's look at how we create these activities.
And just before you move on, I have a kind of a question. I have this notes document on reflexive verbs that has the answer key built in, because obviously we're not, I don't know how to get, maybe I can edit the PDF through Cami and only send them the non-filled in version.
Oh, right.
Part of me was like, well, which tool would be better to use, Cami or Edgy, where I can upload the notes and then have them comment on
It depends on what would be easier for you when you, what is it that you need to notice for that when you're looking at the student work? Will it be easier for you to notice and give feedback if it's in line with the graphic organizer you have, like for verb conjugations or whatever? Is it easier if they're doing it right within the line, like you left a blank space with, and they put in a text box and they type right there? Or is it just as easy for you to have them type it and have those little bubbles and you just click on their, on their bubbles, and you can even start with one student. It'll show you all of theirs.
Right.
And you can kind of go down the line. Now that said, do keep in mind, Kami, even with Kami, neither of those tools has a way where you can assign, if you are doing points where you could assign like a point for each of their responses, you'd have to kind of keep track offline and then go put that somewhere.
Yeah, I think I was looking at it as two different forms of, two formative assessments. Like one, did you like if I gave, even if we did like a recording, it's like, did you listen to the recording and then are you typing in the right spots? Then a second assessment where it's like, when we have it in line, like on Edgy, did you record, like, are you pronouncing correctly?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what's interesting is you have both options in both places, because the students can also add, they can attach an audio comment in Kami as well. So the teachers can attach audio comments, video comments, screen capture comments, and text comments. Those all appear in the right margin off to the side of the document. Students can attach text comments and audio comments on Kami.
Okay.
So you have both options in both places.
I haven't had a chance to watch the Kami video, so I'll let you continue and show how we create these to see which is
this one. Yeah, let's learn how to use this one. And then, one tool at a time. So you're going to create your account eventually when you're ready to get started at edgy.it. So it's very cute, Edgy it. And create your free account. There is a premium version. I'll be sharing with you what some of the differences are between the free and premium versions of Edgy a little bit later. And then you do want to kind of already know what text it is that you want to use with your learners. So select the text and or images that you would want students to work with, and you can actually get the URL for the text, or you can copy and paste it in order to put it in. And actually, I've usually found it easier to copy and paste the text itself into Edgy in order to work with it. I will tell you that when you're creating your document, Edgy does give you an opportunity to indicate the source of your material. What I haven't been able to figure out is why nobody else can see that. So I always give the source in the location in the teacher side where it provides me that opportunity to kind of be good and cite where it is I'm getting the stuff from and credit the source. And then when I create the activity, none of you can see that. So like even this last one with this article on the Sustainable Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goal 1, I included the source in my original activity. It's just not visible to you. So now more as a best practice, when I create newer documents, I actually just go ahead and put the source in the instructions or at the bottom of the document. At the bottom of the text, I just paste in the source there so that my students know where the material came from. In addition, if you want to add any PDFs or images to your Edgy document, you can. So you're actually able to upload a PDF into Edgy and have the activity be with a PDF. And of course, as you saw, you can put images in. It doesn't do images or PDFs from web pages. You have to have them downloaded onto your computer, and then you upload them into Edgy from the hard drive on your computer when you create the activity as a teacher. So that is one important thing to know. Okay. And one new feature in Edgy's, an improvement they've made. At first, when teachers put in a PDF, it was treated like an image, and the students could just click a dot on it in order to annotate it. They have since found some kind of programming magic that allows their tool to be able to recognize text now in the PDFs and highlight and select it. And so students can now highlight specific words and phrases in a PDF, just like they do in a regular area of text, in order to add their annotations. So that's a recent improvement with the PDF feature. And then you should also decide what questions or activities you will insert to foster their development, their proficiency, and their literacy. So are there questions you'd like to add? At what points in the document do you think would be the best places to add those questions. Are there things you want to put in the instructions at the beginning in order to remind students of exactly in what ways you would like them to use the annotation tools? What kinds of things would you like them to do with those tools? So you want to decide all of that. And then when you log into Edgy, your dashboard is broken into 3 columns, but the columns don't have lines. I added these lines here to kind of show you the breakup. The help area is on the left, and recently created readings are on the left as well. In addition to any readings you have joined. So if you join another teacher's reading, it should be over here. The middle is the list of every reading you've ever assigned. And the right-hand side is where you have your button to create new drafts and also to view any existing drafts. So most of you are going to get started with nothing here, right? You are often, you might have some readings. It often has you join like their demo reading when you first create your account. But otherwise, this is all going to be blank, and you're just going to have a new reading button on the right. Once you click new reading, you have a little bit of work to do to set it up. Give it a title, make it public or private, add grade levels. You can select multiple grade levels, but they have to be contiguous. So you can select 9, 10, 11, 12, but you cannot select 9, 11, 12. Okay. And then you can choose the subject area. And then you're going to, in a minute, you're going to add your reading content. So this is actually just further down on the same page as this was. You just keep going down the page. As you get to the place where you're going to add the reading content, oh, this is an old screenshot actually. They now have improved this, and there's actually a separate location for you to put in your instructions. You don't have to put it in the reading content area so that your students don't comment on your instructions. It now has a separate location. But you'll notice that you could just type or copy and paste text, or you can insert an image, a PDF, or a question at any point. Just put your cursor in the spot of the text where you would like those items to appear. As I mentioned earlier, when you go to add a picture, it does have to be on your hard drive. So you will have to download pictures to your computer if they're not already there, and then you can upload them. Same for a PDF. It has to be downloaded to your hard drive. It won't work to just have a link to a PDF elsewhere. Then you can browse for it and upload it, and you can give it a title. When you create a question, you are given a new opportunity to choose which ways students will be allowed to respond. There's a green box around all 3, which means I have enabled all 3. This can be different from the selection you made for their annotations, which you'll see later because you actually do that later in the process. But when you make your choices for how the students can annotate the text, that is a separate set of permissions from how they can respond to the questions. So you can have it be the same or different for answering a question versus annotating the text. Once you're done editing your reading and you've added everything you want to add and so on.
And there's a question in the
yeah,
chat.
Go ahead.
It's Angela, I think, was asking. She can ask it if she wants. I don't want to step
hold on. I didn't even, usually I notice the little bubble show up in the chat.
Thank you. Thank
yes.
you. Do you see my question?
I do, yeah. The downloading and uploading is only for PDFs and images, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can just type or copy paste the regular text in. Once you're done working with that reading, you can create and share what they call a group. And so I have let this reading become one huge group for my year 1920 trainings, for example. That's why there's so many comments on it. And that way I can just keep using the reading over and over again. You may need to create different groups if you don't want different classes, like students from different classes, to be jumbled all together in the same reading, right? So you can name the group however you want. So I would give a name that is helpful to you later, especially if you decide to use this tool long-term. And especially if you decide to get the premium version, because there are limitations on how many like new readings you can have in the free version, and the limit's pretty low. So if you end up liking this tool, you have access to almost all the features right away for free, but there is a pretty hard limit on how many different readings you can create and so on. So then you take your group, give it a name such as some kind of word or keywords about the topic of the reading, as well as what class it's going to if you need it separated out by class. And as you can see here, they have now added a separate space for the instructions. So type them there. Those will be kind of separate from annotating. That way you don't get comments on the quality of your instructions. And then this is where you choose the permissions that your students will have while they are reading. Can they comment via emoji, audio, text, and can they reply? Notice, as you saw, you couldn't reply to each other until I turned Heat Vision back on. But if I turn Heat Vision on and commenting replies are off, what that means is all the students will be able to see the different colors as far as how many people highlighted the same words, but they won't actually be able to reply to each other's comments. And that is an option that teachers have. You don't need a custom code for your readings, but that would allow you to, instead of the random code that my reading had, it would allow you to create a custom code that is easier to remember, for example, but that is a premium version. They actually call their premium tool Hero version. So you become an Edgy hero if you have the pro version. I will say they are incredibly responsive. I actually stumbled across this tool, I guess it would be 2 years ago now, like literally right after I got out of the classroom. And I was like, oh my God, where was this tool my whole teaching career? Or maybe we got to use it twice in the classroom before I moved into this position. And I would reach out to them constantly on Twitter with suggestions, and they are very, very responsive. It turns out that they are a group of former high school friends, a group of boys who just wanted to make reading comprehension activities, wanted to provide a new way to do that, a new tool for that. And that used to be that stereotypical group of boys in a basement doing some programming. And they've been very, very responsive. So they're constantly improving the tool. In addition, then you'll have previously pressed share when you were done editing. It was in the upper right corner, and that will bring you to this screen. And this is where you kind of set up all of the parameters for your students' participation. And then once you've done that, it will give you both a link and a code, and there's a way to post directly to Google Classroom now. So that's a new feature that they have available. As you saw in my screen, once you open a reading for your students to work on it, you have your tools on the left. It is a toggle on off for Heat Vision. Remember that Heat Vision is defaulted to on. So depending on your plans for this particular reading, you may want to turn it off before you tell your students what the code is or what the link is. And then at the top right of your screen, in the upper right corner, you'll also have some of the same tools, as well as a quick access to what the code is, for example. Okay. Then it appears, you might kind of recognize this, but this goes back a few slides. This is my dashboard, which has those 3 columns. The middle column is all of my, the middle column is all of the readings I've created, and it gives me access to kind of open up a reading so I can turn Heat Vision on and off, review all the comments, and so on by just clicking that code, and it opens it up on my screen for me. This is a hero feature, but you actually have a way to get an individual reading recap for every student on every reading. And what it will do is it will tell you how many minutes they spent reading, what the average number of minutes is, how many comments they made, what the average number of comments made, and then what kind of comments they made. This particular person did 3 emoji comments and none of the other 2, for example. It also reviews for you what the instructions were, in case you'd like to look at that in light of how that student participated. This again is something that is only available in their paid version. So your library, you can have as I said, right, you can have 2 documents. You can assign those documents to as many groups as you want. So you can take those 2 documents and keep assigning them to, 15 different classes over the next 3 years. However, it is limited to 2 documents for the free version. We're nearing the end of the year, so that might work out okay for you. But if you love this tool, you might want to approach your PTA or your department funds or, Donors Choose or something in order to perhaps pay for the pro version.
Nicole,
As you can see, yeah.
How much is the pro version?
Oh, just like it says on the top, it's $5 a month, but paid annually.
I'm sorry, I have your picture. Oh,
do you? No screen share.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Do you have questions about anything I said before though? Because you missed everything I was sharing. Did that make sense?
I don't know what to.
No. So I was sharing kind of what it looks like to create your readings. Okay.
Your face, it's like that 2-inch little box, so I can see.
Okay.
And it just covered up the $5.
Oh, is that what it did? Okay. I was like, no, it's here. But I forgot that there is a video camera. So $5 a month. I will check on that to see if that changed. And I'm not sure. And I forgot to reach out and ask them first because they're so sweet. And they actually reach out to me and ask me for feedback on new features. And they're very cute. And see if they have anything going for COVID-19 right now. So I will check on that. As you can see, most of the features are available to you with that 2 reading limit, right? 2 document limit really is what it would be. And you can do almost everything that I did. What you don't have is the student analysis tools for seeing an individual student's reading and getting some kind of data on the time spent and the types of interactions and so on, and the ability to do custom codes, which isn't a huge deal for me, but it could be for some. And then the big one is how many readings you get. So they want you to see how the tool works and how powerful it can be. So you have almost all the features available. It's just a really hard limit on how many different documents you can create. Okay. And then I provided you in the slide deck. Don't forget to grab that slide deck before you go. And it will be in the hub as well on the technology training and support page under support documents. You have a link to more information, which includes how to register and kind of a review of what you can do here with this tool. And that already brings us to the end. Oh, good timing. So there's about 5 minutes. And one of the things I'm going to do right now actually is, let's see if we can review Edgy Hero. Okay, so I just want to see if they've changed. Oh, that's right. They do have a new way to do that. So if you refer people, you can actually get up to 100% off of your purchase of Edgy Hero. You can set up a pilot for your school. I just wanted to see, okay, let me go to Edgy pricing. Edgy info. There we go. Let's see if, oh, that wasn't helpful. Hold on, let me get their pricing. I just want to make sure the price hasn't changed. Edgy. I probably should just go back to the link on my, yeah, let me go back to the link on my slide deck. That's supposed to take me there. Oh, it signed me back in. Erg. Okay, I'm gonna have to dig around a little bit separately just to make sure. And I will reach out to them and I will add it directly to the slide deck so you don't have to wonder where it is. If I, oh, let me click on that. If I hear anything about what they're doing for COVID-19 and so on, no, but still $5 a month, but charged annually. Okay. So you can have, it'll be $60 for the year, essentially. Okay. So that's how much it costs. And I will reach out and see if they have done anything in light of COVID-19. I might have missed a tweet from them or something about that. Any other questions?
This sounds great, Nicole. Question, and it's super easy.